Today I'm reminded of how lucky I am. To you, I owe my wonderful life. Simply put, Goldie, I cherish you.
Alarming headlines claiming Kurt Russell's wife is saying goodbye after her husband's tragic diagnosis have been circulating online, especially on social media platforms, causing widespread concern among fans. In 2017, photos showing the actor with black sores under his lips sparked speculation about serious health conditions. But here's the thing, what if everything you've been told isn't exactly true? From those strange 2017 photos to that emotional 2023 post asking for prayers, the internet has been spinning a story that feels real. Stick with me, because what's actually going on might completely change how you see all of this. What the tragic diagnosis actually claim. How did a few photos turn into such serious medical claims? The biggest rumor that kept spreading centered around something called Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, which is known as a rare genetic condition linked to a high risk of intestinal cancer. Sounds heavy already, right? And here is where things start to feel a bit unsettling. Some media outlets reached out to medical professionals, but not doctors who had actually examined Russell in person. Just based on photos alone, opinions started forming. Dr. Stuart Fisher, for example, reportedly looked at the images and described what appeared as precancerous lesions that needed urgent attention. But think about that for a second. Can a real medical conclusion truly come from just looking at pictures online? Another doctor, Dr. Gabe Merkin, who had decades of experience, also encouraged proper medical testing, again, without any direct examination. That raises another question. Where is the line between professional caution and public speculation? Then things became even more intense. Fisher suggested that the marks seen might be connected to Peutz-Jeghers syndrome and stressed that treatment should happen as soon as possible. Reports also pointed out that similar kinds of blisters had been seen in people with that condition before. And just when everything already sounded serious, data from Cancer.net was brought in, stating that the lifetime cancer risk for people with that syndrome could go as high as 93%. 93%! That number alone is enough to alarm anyone. But here comes the part that makes everything feel a bit uneasy again. No confirmed diagnosis was ever shared. So how did such a strong claim gain so much attention without clear medical proof? And just when it seemed like things could not get more dramatic, another rumor surfaced in 2023. And this one sounded even more frightening. A post on Facebook asked people to pray for Russell, claiming a battle with necrotizing fasciitis, often described as a flesh-eating disease. Now, pause for a moment. How does a rumor jump from a genetic condition to a severe bacterial infection like that? Necrotizing fasciitis is known to be extremely serious, involving infection that can spread quickly through the body, causing swelling, blisters, and even life-threatening complications. But again, no verified source confirmed this claim. No official medical statement backed it up. So where did it even come from? That question still hangs in the air without a clear answer. Some reports even mixed things up by incorrectly describing Peutz-Jeghers syndrome as a flesh-eating disease, which only added more confusion to an already messy situation. At that point, it almost felt like one rumor kept feeding another. Now let's go back to where all of this really started. The photos from 2017. These images showed dark marks placed along the lower lip in what looked like a very even and symmetrical pattern. That detail alone caught attention. Because think about it. Does a natural condition usually appear in such a perfectly balanced way? A plastic surgeon, Dr. Anthony Yun, even commented on this, said nothing like that had ever been seen in cosmetic procedures. That statement alone made things even more puzzling. If it was not cosmetic, then what was it? And if it looked so unusual, could something else be going on? Some people began to wonder if the images had been edited in some way. That raises another important question. In a time where images can be altered so easily, how much trust should be placed in a single photo? And this is where things take a step back into reality. Despite all the claims, all the dramatic headlines, and all the online discussions, no major or well-known news organization confirmed any of these health concerns. Everything stayed mostly within tabloid outlets, which often have a reputation for exaggeration or weak verification. That alone says a lot, because if something this serious were truly happening, would credible sources stay silent? That question speaks for itself. No official statement ever confirmed any illness. No direct medical report was released. No verified update ever came out to support any of these claims. So what remains at the end of all this? A mix of speculation, fear, and unanswered questions. One rumor suggested a rare genetic condition with a high cancer risk. Another rumor claimed a dangerous bacterial infection. Photos raised eyebrows but also raised doubts. And through it all, not a single confirmed piece of evidence stepped forward to settle anything. It leaves a lingering thought that's hard to shake, the kind that quietly follows you even after the headlines fade. How quickly can public opinion really shift when the full story isn't on the table? One moment, everything seems normal, and the next, speculation begins to spiral, filling in the gaps with assumptions that feel real but may not be. And more importantly, how easily can genuine concern turn into something else entirely when facts are missing and emotions take over? It's a pattern we've seen time and time again, but this time it hits a little closer, a little more personal. Because just when people thought they understood what was going on, a new perspective started to emerge. So before you jump to conclusions, stay with me till the very end, because what's actually happening with Kurt Russell might not be what you've been led to believe. Kurt Russell's real health status, a quiet but steady reminder of reality, kept showing up through recent public appearances. And honestly, that alone already started raising a simple question. If someone was truly struggling with serious health problems, would that same person still be showing up at high-profile events with confidence and ease? Russell made an appearance at the Apple TV Plus Primetime Emmy Award party on January 15, 2024, in Hollywood, California, and that moment spoke louder than any online rumor ever could. The setting, the crowd, the cameras, everything about that environment demanded energy and presence. That kind of appearance did not align with the idea of someone fading away in poor health. It quietly pushed back against all the noise that had been circulating online. And then another question naturally followed. Why would speculation grow so strong when visible reality seemed to say the opposite? A clearer answer came directly from Russell, especially while approaching the 75th birthday on March 17th. Instead of avoiding the topic or brushing it aside, Russell addressed it in a calm and simple way during a conversation with Entertainment Tonight. Russell shared that there was happiness about reaching that age and mentioned feeling healthy. That statement carried weight because it came without drama, without over-explanation, just a straightforward reflection. And honestly, what more could anyone expect beyond that kind of direct response? Russell also connected longevity to maintaining good health, which sounded less like a defense and more like a quiet truth built over time. Gratitude came through as well, especially when acknowledging how meaningful it felt to reach such a milestone. That alone made many pause for a second. How often does someone reach that age and still speak with that kind of calm confidence? The way Russell described birthday plans added another layer to the whole picture. No big party, no dramatic celebration, just something simple like having a beer. That choice felt very grounded, almost like a reminder that not everything needed to be turned into a major event. Russell explained that after a big Christmas celebration, birthdays in that household usually passed quietly. Still, there was an honest recognition that 75 stood out as a number worth looking forward to. That balance between simplicity and appreciation made the moment feel real. And really, does someone dealing with serious health issues usually speak about life in such a relaxed and forward-looking way? Looking back, the only confirmed medical issue connected to Russell pointed to hip surgery in September 2021. Nothing hidden, nothing mysterious, just a normal medical procedure that many people go through at some point. Russell even explained the situation clearly at the time, mentioning that doctors advised the surgery could not be delayed any longer. That honesty removed any guesswork. The surgery also led to missing an induction into the Hall of Great Western Performers, but even that situation was handled with patience and understanding. The National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum agreed to move the recognition to 2022 so attendance could happen in person. That detail mattered because it showed planning for the future rather than reacting to a crisis. And again, a simple question came up. Would long-term plans like that even exist if something far more serious was going on? Then there was the issue of rumors, and this part always seemed to create the most confusion. Russell never directly addressed any of the online speculation, and that silence made some people wonder even more. But thinking about it closely, another perspective started to make sense. Not every rumor deserves a response. Sometimes silence simply means there is nothing real to respond to. A photograph from 2017 played a big role in starting some of these conversations, especially because of visible marks that people interpreted in different ways. Some even questioned whether the image had been edited, but here was the important part that often got overlooked. No major or credible news outlet reported on any serious health condition linked to Russell. Coverage stayed mostly within smaller, less reliable sources. That difference mattered more than most people realized, so the bigger picture slowly became clearer. On one side, there were public appearances, direct statements about feeling healthy, simple and relaxed conversations about life, and confirmed medical history that stayed limited to a single procedure. On the other side, there were rumors without strong evidence, mostly fueled by questionable sources and old images. And at that point, another question naturally came up. Which side sounded more believable? Everything pointed toward a simple conclusion that did not need exaggeration or dramatic explanation. Russell continued to live life, show up when needed, speak openly when asked, and move forward without giving unnecessary attention to speculation. That approach alone said a lot. Sometimes, the truth did not come from long explanations or public statements. Sometimes, the truth doesn't arrive with a loud announcement or a dramatic reveal. Instead, it shows up quietly, almost unnoticed, through small actions, steady consistency, and the simple absence of anything that contradicts it. No scandals, no shocking twists, no hidden secrets waiting to be uncovered, just years of showing up for each other, day after day. And isn't that what makes it even more powerful? In a world where everything seems loud and complicated, their story feels almost too simple to believe. But maybe that's exactly the point. Maybe the real proof has been there all along, hiding in plain sight, waiting for people to finally pay attention. So what does that kind of love actually look like today, after all these years? How has it held up when so many others didn't? Stick with me till the very end, because once you see how everything fits together, you might just look at their story in a completely different way. Kurt and Goldie's life together today. The connection between Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn often comes up as one of those rare examples of Hollywood relationships that quietly stands strong over time. The relationship began on Valentine's Day in 1983, and from that moment, something steady and lasting started to grow without the usual pressure that many people expect, like marriage. That alone already raises a question. Does a relationship really need a formal title to survive for over 40 years? Time seems to have answered that question in a very calm and confident way. Over the years, a full and blended family came together, including Boston Russell, Oliver Hudson, Kate Hudson, and Wyatt Russell, each one becoming part of a shared life that never felt forced or overly structured. A life like this did not stay in one place either. Homes spread across Colorado, California, and New York became part of everyday living. And movement between these places added a kind of balance that many people spend years trying to figure out. One place in particular carried deeper meaning, and that was the cabin in Old Snowmass, Colorado. More than just a house, that space became a foundation for raising children and building memories. Russell described mornings that started with mountain views, quiet air, and a sense of peace that felt far away from busy city life. Simple routines followed, like heading to the barn, saddling horses, and ending the day by sitting near a fireplace. A simple question naturally comes up here: how many people actually get to build a life that feels this grounded while still working in one of the busiest industries in the world? That balance between simplicity and fame seems to play a big role in keeping everything steady. At the ages of 75 and 80, life has not slowed down in the way many would expect. Instead, activity and presence still shape everyday routines, especially in Colorado. Russell shared that Hawn enjoys being there a lot and even expressed a wish to spend more time in that peaceful setting. The environment offers something deeper than comfort. Russell explained that the quiet surroundings create space for reflection, a chance to think, to breathe, and to reconnect with things that can easily disappear in busy city environments. That brings another thought: could something as simple as location really shape the strength of a relationship over time? In this case, it seems to matter more than most would assume. When Russell spoke about Hawn, a very clear description came through. Russell explained that Hawn is not the kind of person who becomes tiring over time, and described Hawn as completely unique. That kind of statement sounds simple, but it carries weight when placed next to more than 4 decades of shared life. Russell connected that long relationship directly to a sense of fulfillment and happiness, suggesting that consistency and understanding might matter more than dramatic moments or big gestures. It almost feels like a quiet reminder that lasting relationships are not always loud or complicated. Hawn, on the other hand, pointed to one key idea that holds everything together, and that idea is freedom. Hawn explained that personal space and independence remain very important, comparing that feeling to a bird that needs an open door rather than a closed cage. That comparison paints a clear picture. What happens when freedom disappears in a relationship? According to Hawn's explanation, losing that freedom could mean losing individuality. Instead of blending into one person, both individuals continue to exist fully while still staying connected. That balance creates a sense of compatibility that does not feel forced. It brings up another question: how many relationships struggle simply because individuality slowly fades away? Another important part of the relationship comes from attraction, and Hawn spoke openly about that aspect. Hawn explained that strong attraction still exists, and described that feeling as something important, rather than something that fades over time. According to that perspective, physical connection helps create warmth and closeness, and keeps the bond alive in a natural way. Beyond attraction, admiration also plays a role. Hawn pointed to intelligence, humor, and acting ability as qualities that continue to stand out, along with the sense that Russell remains incredibly handsome even now. That kind of appreciation feels genuine, especially after so many years together. It leads to another simple thought: does admiration quietly hold relationships together in ways that people do not always notice? Imperfection also takes a central place in this dynamic. Hawn made it clear that perfection is not something worth chasing, and described the idea of a perfect partner as unrealistic. Instead of focusing on flaws as problems, acceptance becomes part of the connection. That mindset removes pressure and allows both individuals to remain real, rather than trying to meet impossible expectations. The family created within this relationship was described as happy most of the time, which feels honest and grounded. After all, no relationship exists without challenges. That honesty raises one last question: could acceptance and realism be the real reasons some relationships last, while others fall apart? Looking at everything together, a clear pattern begins to show. A long-lasting relationship built on freedom, respect, attraction, and acceptance seems to stand stronger than one built only on rules or expectations. The connection between Russell and Hawn does not rely on one single factor. Instead, many small, steady choices made over time shape something that continues to last. And when all of that is placed side by side, one simple thought remains. Maybe lasting love is not about holding on tightly, but about knowing when to give space, when to appreciate, and when to simply enjoy the journey together. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.